position as the pink Zerg, ladies and gentlemen, representing the Philippines. He is one game down at the moment. Can he tie up the series and make it back? We have EnDerr.
And his opponent over here on the other side of the map, hailing from Team Tyloo, he's the one, the only Infi.
So a pretty quick TVZ to start us off with in game number one. No doubt that wasn't part of EnDerr's game plan. Like you mentioned, getting that third queen at the natural expansion, probably the early game harassment from Infi there really threw EnDerr just a little bit off of his game.
Yeah, and maybe that's what triggered him into deciding like, okay, I'm going to try this Roach push. Yeah. And then, I mean, really with Infi already going for Banshees, it is just so hard to make that really deliver any staying damage.
Yeah, and the lack of creep spread as well was always going to be very difficult. The Hellions, I mean, are technically half there to limit that creep spread at the start of the game, but there was no creep spread to even limit. EnDerr was just trying quite hard there, really, to get that all in to work, and it just didn't quite come out.
Well, that even allowed Infi to instead use those Hellions to just run straight by into the main and take out a few more Zerglings, take out a few drones, so really he was able to just get so much more mileage out of those Hellions than he really should have.
And I think the units lost have really showed at the end of the day. The Banshees were just doing constant DPS while the Roaches were running towards Infi's base. While they were retreating, we were talking about how they might have been able to go into the main instead. And then once the tank was sieged, it's that sort of sweet spot on the bottom of the cliff as well. The Queens just weren't able to get there in time. A Spore Crawler got taken out. A lot more drones got destroyed at that point. So we'll see what EnDerr's game plan is going to be for game two. He has to settle himself now, calm himself down. He might be a game down, but he is by no means out at the moment, and he just needs to relax and bring his A game, and he'll be fine.
That's right. And here he is just about to finish up that Overlord out there as we see his natural wrap up as well. I'm surprised that we didn't actually see him try to go for that third base a little bit sooner in the game, but he clearly had probably already gone into it with a bit of that all-in mentality, right? Like, when you're coming in against a player like Infi, a player that has such a prestigious reputation, you're probably already playing from behind, so you're just trying to scramble for the entire game to play catch-up, and Infi is just one of those players that will stay ahead if he's got the lead.
Oh, that is the difficulty behind playing someone who you know has a reputation behind them. You need to be able to cast that aside and just get on with playing your game and pretend it's like if you like a ladder game or something like that, and really get the egos out the window. The mind games can play such an important part in a tournament, especially one as prestigious as this one. Now, we did have Infi go for the gas immediately after getting that first Rax in the expand. So he's going to be going for those reacted Hellions in game number 2 as well, not going for barracks number 2 and 3. So we're not going to see any sort of super strong, really quick bio play come out of him. And EnDerr this time, we can already tell he's a little bit more comfortable with his play. We have another Queen on the way. Roach Warren going down again, interestingly, but he has got the first Creep Tumor out. He's getting another Queen out, and he looks to be just that little bit more comfortable this time around. So we might potentially see more of the same this time around, but EnDerr's definitely more on point.
And then we've got a small expedition force over here moving out from Infi, although he is just going to be using that to get up into that third and scout it out, because he doesn't really need to get up into the main, because you get so much information just by finding out that that third base hasn't been started quite yet. Now Infi is triggered and going to be moving right back around as his starport is just about 75% done. We once again see the tech lab being added on. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Infi.
Oh, a very nice save there on the SCV, actually moving into the bunker because we don't have any units here at the moment. A couple of Hellions popping out will take very, very quick work of that. This starport will get put onto that tech lab immediately for that Banshee production. And we are actually going to see a little bit more of the same this time. EnDerr deciding to use this Roach style, moving out toward the center of the map now. One of the things that this Roach style really has going for EnDerr is that it limits the amount of damage Hellions can actually do. They're just so much more resilient than Zerglings when faced with these Hellions here. But the problem is once these Roaches move out across the center of the map, it becomes very, very susceptible to run-bys because they cannot actually get home quickly. It looks like 4 of them are going to be popping into the natural expansion here. This bunker already has 3 Marines in it, so there's not too much damage that can be done, but they might be able to swing around, kill a couple of SCVs. Infi already on top of it, making
he is able to connect with that mule, so a pretty nice pickup there. Still had about 100 minerals left to gather on that, so it's not too bad. And now we can see that he was only using the Roaches to buy him time. Behind this, he has already begun moving up to his lair. The lair has just finished up. But wow, these Roaches are actually getting quite a bit of mileage out there, stopping all of the mining at the second base, even getting an additional SCV there, and a Hellion as well before all of them are decimated.
Yeah, These 4 roaches were definitely worth it. The amount of mining time that he was denying Infi at the natural expansion alone is almost worth it, but just being able to pick off the Mule and the SCV at the end of it as well really is icing on the cake. We see EnDerr with his creep spread a lot better this game than last. Evo Chamber, Spinecrawler going up here to try and dissuade these Hellions moving in. They're going to be checking out for the 3rd base location once again. It looks like everyone hates destructible rocks today, but Infi's not going to be able to get into the base of EnDerr this time around. It'll take him forever.
So now we also have EnDerr once again going for that Spire play. He is so keen on getting those Mutalisks out because those Mutalisks do so much for you, especially once you have the Overseer in play. The Banshees are not going to be able to destroy EnDerr's economy like he would love them to.
Yep. And Spire being put underneath a couple of Overlords here in the main base. We can see the Hellions and a Banshee actually continue to harass, but rather than go behind, which is what I was looking out for earlier on the right side of the minimap, Infi's electing for the head-on approach. He's just picking off a couple of those roaches there, trying to limit the creep spread as the Queens come out, but on half health, unfortunately, that Banshee is going to have to go back home for now. It looks like he's been favoring, as we do have a little bit of a pause there from EnDerr, so we'll just hopefully get the game going in a little bit. Infi's been favoring just going for the head-on approach rather than trying to sneak in the back and pick off workers. He hasn't really been interested in distracting the army. A map like this where there's just so much space behind the bases, the Banshees could actually come in here and do a fair bit of damage, but he is electing to use them with the main army so far. We do see 2 of them moving out now on the right-hand side as the Hellions to move into the natural, but will be blocked by a couple of Queens, and those Speedlings in the back really spell bad news.
No, and here he's having to use those scans to try to clean out some of this creature, but there are just so many tumors out there. Oh, and he's using this to buy a little bit of time and move up into the natural and take down a few of those drones. Infi doing a great job staying active with those Banshees, and oh wow, the drone kills are just absolutely massive. We can see that the Mutalisks, as a matter of fact, are only 75% done right now, and there has just been so much damage done at that natural.
Definitely mission accomplished here for these Banshees. So many kills between them. We have workers killed now standing at 17. The supplies are 76 to 75, so they look pretty even on paper here as EnDerr is about to finish his 3rd base. But so many workers have been killed. The Mutas now chasing the Banshees, but 48 to 40, and don't forget that's before we take Mules into the equation here. These Mutas have to do so much damage to be worth their weight right now.
Oh wow, we can just see them lollygagging around for a little bit, taking a lot of those Marine shots straight to the mouth, and they are forced to retreat. That's going to buy Infi enough time to finish up a couple of those missile turrets that he was trying to finish, because EnDerr was only able to kill the SCVs. He doesn't have enough Mutalisks out there to just destroy the missile turrets left and right, and now EnDerr has got to be in a rough spot mentally.
Yep, Infi is gearing to... very nice. Picking off a single Banshee there. It looks like the Marines were caught a little bit out of position, not quite able to pick up a siege tank, but he will see the 3rd orbital command moving towards that 3rd base location. So EnDerr at least has the intel that Infi isn't going for some sort of mega 2-base play. He's actually trying to take his expansion right now, but with the Marine support, Infi's going to be able to hold on to this 3rd base without any problems whatsoever. There is just no ground army at the moment to back up what EnDerr has, and I can't help but feeling Infi has a huge timing attack incoming. Stims just finished, combat shields about to finish, and we have 1-1 on the way for those Marines as well.
Right, he's also almost got that siege mode finished up as well. As soon as he's able to move across that map, you can bet that it's going to be finished up, and here he is beginning to move out here. Now EnDerr does have his infestation pit almost finished up, but he is not going to have enough time to finish the energy upgrade, and he's likely not going to have really any infestors out in play by the time that this push makes it to his base.
18 Banelings though morphing in, so this is going to be what EnDerr is relying on to try and stop this push from Infi. 122 to 111 supply right now, and the money scan from Infi sees exactly what's going on with the army, moving out across the map, picking off as much creep as he can, sieging the tanks very, very early on creep, wanting to make sure this is a very slow, methodical push, not wanting to accidentally get caught out by an unsieged tank anywhere at any point of this attack, and that's why EnDerr is having to sort of yo-yo between his natural expansion and his 3rd base at the moment. The creep has been taken out, so even though there is still creep here, the creep tumors haven't been granting him vision, and he doesn't know where Infi is going to attack him, and that's really the big pain of being in EnDerr's position right now.
And now this has actually bought EnDerr at least a little bit of time. We saw that he was able to finish up an additional 20 or so Zerglings to get them out there. He's also able to start a few more of his upgrades. If those centrifugal hooks are able to finish and Infi just overextends a little bit and a couple of those Baneling connects get in there, he can absolutely break through this. But really, as long as Infi's spread out and he's methodical and slow about that push, he's going to be able to pretty much pick apart EnDerr and just poke at him until there's nothing left.
Yeah, that's exactly what EnDerr's doing.
Oh, EnDerr going for the big break.
Oh my goodness, here come the Banelings, and that is an awful lot of them, ladies and gentlemen. Need to be focusing them down with the siege tanks, doing them towards the end of that engagement. It looks like a decent number of Marines are left. 2 tanks in the back here, so EnDerr has pushed EnDer back a bit, but missile turret pushing out as well, picking apart the Mutalisk and the Overseer too. This is not looking good for EnDerr. EnDerr now with a 20 supply lead and moving forward with another siege tank. Banshee support. Roaches this time trying to defend, but the siege tanks are now at the bottom of the round with no more Banelings. Bar these two out in play form right now. I'm just not sure EnDerr can hold on in the long run.
Oh no, but here we have EnDerr. He is going to be able to break out through this now as the reinforcements get in here. I think that he's going to have to pull back with him. EnDerr has done a great job cleaning up. No, but he just doesn't have anything left to handle that Banshee. And as we can see, EnDerr is not done. He's just going to keep pushing through and through with the rest of those reinforcements.
Yeah, I think that the sheer amount of DPS between the Marines and the tanks at the moment, especially now that medevac support is in place. Note that the Mutalisks weren't able to pick apart the medevacs and the Banshee, so as a result, EnDerr is having to spend all of his money, all of his larva immediately. Nice pickup there from EnDerr on just constantly building more units to try and stave off this attack. But EnDerr constantly moving more and more units out across the middle of the map now, and EnDerr does have a decent number of lings out there actually. It has to be said that EnDerr should really be thinking about moving back and regrouping a bit, but the number of medevacs just continuing to grow, and over time they're just going to become more and more effective against the army that EnDerr has to resist.
Well, right now EnDerr really needs to pull back those medevacs and just keep them alive, right? Because essentially they're out here almost completely undefended at that point. They're really just hanging over one of the crevices out in front of his main. But EnDerr says no. He says, I'm going to push anyway. He goes all the way up in the third, drops down one of those tanks, but EnDerr is quick with the pull-off off of the natural, not taking very much damage there at all, and now the Lings get there for too little too late, and they're picked back up into the medevac.
Yeah, the drops are going to be quite effective now, frankly, because EnDerr has scared EnDerr away from making those Mutalisks. They disappeared so quickly when they came out into the middle of the map. There was just nothing EnDerr could do about them, and now EnDerr is able to abuse the fact that all of his medevacs survived that engagement to try and do as much damage as humanly possible and just be a massive pain in EnDerr's side. I can't help but feel that EnDerr would have been able possibly to end the game had he managed that engagement just a little bit better at the front there, but he's certainly in a great position right now. He's 140 supplied to 118 ahead. It might not matter too much in the long run. 3-3 is on the way. These drops are going to continue to be annoying. A lot of mining time disappearing then. Wow, 6 Marines actually surviving that drop. Pretty good stuff coming out of there from EnDerr.
Now, EnDerr is pretty much just banking on these infestors buying him enough time to get up to his greater spire. We did see that the hive has finished up by now, but really, if EnDerr continues this pushing, I don't know that EnDerr is going to be able to make it up to those Broodlords.
It's very tricky for him indeed, and medevac's just all over the place at the moment, and just nothing he can do about it. The Greater Spire has already started, but the number of Corruptors on the field are 0. Imagine if there were just 3 or 4 picking off these medevacs as they were moving left and right, but right now, EnDerr just has control of the entire map. We do have a couple of fungals available, but ideally you don't want to be spending them on medevacs, because by the time a big engagement comes in, if you don't have all those money fungals available to you, it's going to be so difficult to pick apart this Spire army, especially with tank support, and here comes EnDerr for the follow-up push.
Oh, wow, and really the supply count at this point is going to tell the story, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many units out in front of EnDerr's base, but EnDerr says, whatever, take my base. I'll go for a base trade. I don't know how well that's going to work with Zerglings.
No. The front door is completely wide open at the moment, and is EnDerr going to raise the supply depots? He does not. A small bioforce, but not enough to kill off these Lings, is here. Ooh, but I think these Marines, coupled with the siege tank, should be able to swing back and defend. The Lings do eventually go down. Most of that original bioforce has disappeared, but the problem really is EnDerr's remaining army. GG comes out as 195 to 107 supply, and EnDerr takes our first series of the day with a 2